The Panama Canal is a constructed passageway that stretches 50 miles through Panama and connects the Atlantic Ocean with the Pacific Ocean. The canal was ordered to be built by Theodore Roosevelt from 1903 to 1914 so that the United States would have a way to transport goods cheaply and quickly between the Pacific and Atlantic coasts, and so that foreign connection would be facilitated.
Before any construction of the canal could be done, the U.S. needed authorization from Panama, who at the time was seen as a province of Colombia. The U.S. tried to reach an agreement with Colombia by offering money to their Congress. However, Colombia ultimately rejected this offer, and Theodore Roosevelt sent U.S. military warships to Panama City, which was on one side of the Pacific Ocean, and Colon, which was on the side of the Atlantic Ocean. In 1903, the Hay-Buneh-Varilla Treaty was made and affirmed that the U.S. was allowed a 10-mile section of land, one payment of $10 million to Panama, and an annual annuity of $250,000. Many compromises were made with Colombia so war would not break out between the two nations.
The building of the Panama Canal involved three areas of focus: engineering, sanitation, and organization. So to get the project underway, President Roosevelt appointed John Finley Wallace as the first chief engineer.
Upon his arrival to the canal site, he notices that the conditions of the workspace are horrendous and the equipment, such as rails, pipes, dredging machines, rusted locomotives, and the overall infrastructure are not fitting for a productive workspace. The sanitary conditions were also a major problem because there were many infections that were being passed around, such as malaria and yellow fever, that infected and killed many people. Within a year of leading the construction of the canal, Wallace resigned from the chief position because of personal caution and concern over the work conditions.
After Wallace's departure, President Roosevelt names John F. Stevens as the new first chief engineer in 1905. Stevens recognizes that working and living conditions need to be improved, so he orders for proper housing, safety, and sanitary conditions. In 1 year, 1,250 homes, hospitals, administration buildings, and recreation centers were built. He also served a leading role in persuading President Roosevelt to build a canal with locks, a closed chamber, and a canal with gates on each side, as opposed to building it as a sea-level canal.
In 1907, Stevens resigns the Panama Canal project, and Roosevelt replaces him with George Washington Goethals, who serves as chief engineer until the completion of the canal in 1914. Goethals was able to achieve great results because of his militaristic management and his similar approach to his predecessor. Goethals continued to use the same technological advances that consisted of building the canal with features such as new plans for the lock systems and dams. Although he was faced with some challenges like that of being victim of strikes from workers that demanded higher wages, he was able to resolve the issues and continue to prosper in building the canal. 1908 proved huge as the labor crew helped move 37 million cubic yards of spoil from the Colbertet, which helped the development of the construction.
David Du Bois Gaylord was appointed as the main engineer who was in charge of the Central Division, which was responsible a 31-mile section that begins at the upper locks at San Pedro and extends all the way to Gatun Dam.
1912 and 1913 were very progressive years as the Gatun Dam, the canal's main water supply, was completed and the construction of the locks was completed as well. And in 1913, President Woodrow sets off a detonator to blow up the divider, which finally allowed for the connection of the Pacific and Atlantic waters.
On January 7th, 1914, the French crane boat Alexander Lavallee completes the first passage through the Panama Canal. By the spring, tugs and boats will begin passing through the canal regularly, and by June, the Panama Canal will earn $7,000 in tolls.
The construction on the Panama Canal was crucial to America in several ways, one being that the shipment of goods from New York to San Francisco, a 13,000-mile voyage, was now cut down to a doable 5,200 miles, saving the U.S. time and money, resulting in an economic uplifting. The Panama Canal also created new U.S. naval opportunities, making it easier to control the areas around it, creating a much stronger political standing in South America, while increasing the title of the world's superpower. The creation of the Panama Canal created jobs, increased the economy, created a stronger naval and political standing in the U.S., and made foreign trade much easier.